It's been far too long since we enjoyed this place in the Gallagher Premiership, back in the dark days of January, the weekend before we got stuck into the Six Nations. Well, we're back now under clear blue East Midlands skies, sunshine, a bit of breeze, which might be significant. This game feels significant, as every successive weekend will between now and June. The team's then confirmation of the late change for Leicester. Michael Checker rather hoping to have Ollie Chesham back today. Remember, he hurt himself in the final Six Nations game in Cardiff. He was in Friday's original starting 15, but isn't quite ready. So Harry Wells is lifted off the bench. Com Jussin takes his place. So essentially this is the same bunch who nilled Northampton last weekend. Liebenberg, Rafael, who's agreed a new deal this week, and Cracknell were all dominant in the back row, while Jack Van Portfleet kind of ran the show from scrum half. He's looking more and more like the player he was before his pre-World Cup injury. Van Portfleet and Pollard again at 9 and 10. Saracen selection that tells us that Mark McCall is prioritising the Premiership now over the Champions Cup. They go to Toulon in the last 16 next weekend. His England players, though, being asked to dig into 2 successive weekends in the Prem, coming back to the club after the Six Nations, which means the likes of Itoje, George, Willis and Daly will all miss the game in France. It's a notable day for teenage winger Angus Hall, with Rotimi Shegan injured. Here's a first Premiership start for the England under-20. 7 of the 8 forwards started last Saturday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The one who didn't, tight head prop Fraser Balmain, a Premier League winner with Leicester a dozen years ago now, Ben.
Yeah, I think the key battle here is in the back row, and in particular at number 6, McFarland moving out from the second row. He'll have a bit more energy to do what we know he can do, that ball-playing ability, a huge presence at the line-out against Liebenberg. Probably Leicester's most important player in terms of his work rate and what he brings with ball in hand.
And I've gone for the 15s because I think we're going to see an incredibly physical game, a very slow game at the breakdown, and when you see that, you see a lot of kicking. Stewart is amazing in the air, as is Daly, but the control of the backfield, not allowing that ball to hit this hard ground and bounce anywhere, could be a deciding factor this afternoon.
It is windy as well, Oz. I'm sure it was the same at the Rec with you yesterday, but certainly at Kingsholm yesterday evening, the wind with those kicks was played a really big part.
Yeah, it was swirling around down at the Rec. It is out there. It's not quite as bad as it was yesterday, but I think it's still going to have quite a big effect.
A proper pinch-me moment for the players and the fans at Franklin's Gardens last Friday night. Those who were spilling back over the border like old conquerors. Those who stayed at home and enjoyed watching with us. Saracens not there yet, but they're not far off now or never territory when it comes to being involved in the end of season playoffs. Started this Premiership weekend down in 7th. It's been a year and a half since they were that low in the rankings. Home games to come against Gloucester, Newcastle and Bath. They are must-win games. Away to Sale and Northampton and here. And the selection of the likes of Maro Itoje tells you everything, really. They know, even here, this is one they have to win today. Lost their last 3 games on their travels in the Prem. Newcastle in November, Bath in December, Exeter in January. Lost on their last 3 visits here as well. It's their worst run in these parts for 16 years. High time they changed that. The likes of Tom Willis at 8 certainly have the firepower. Montosha will know that. They're as good as ended Saints' hopes of making the top 4 last weekend. Those hopes officially ended on Friday night in Manchester. And now for Leicester, this opportunity to put a dent in Saracens' playoff aspirations. They could be 11 points clear of the Londoners with 5 left to play by tea time. Before kick-off, we are going to remember 2 very good friends of this club, 2 very good friends of lots of us as well. Kevin Andrews and Phil Hutchinson, who have died recently. Kevin a former player, former captain in the 1960s and 70s, remained very much part and parcel of this place. Bumping into him each year at the Rugby Writers Club annual dinner was always a highlight. Always keen to talk Leicester, always keen to give us gossip he probably shouldn't have done. Fabulously indiscreet. He'd wander off from those conversations with a big smile on his face, knowing he'd told us far more than he should have done. And Phil, who used to be the club photographer, Phil Hutchinson, has been battling illness for a long, long time, but we'd see him every week down in the press room. He rarely missed a game. We last saw him just before the Six Nations in January. Press room missing Phil today, Welford Road missing both of them. I do hope they're watching this somewhere together. Kevin being as indiscreet as ever, Phil taking his photographs. Oh, they've loved this. Look at this stage, what a picture. Leicester and Saracens with so much at stake. Luke Pearce, over a year since he last refereed Leicester. This fixture, January 2024. Jonathan Cook and Callum Howard are our assistant referees. The TMO is Peter Allen.
Thank you.
And off we go. First Gallagher Premiership afternoon of British summertime since the clocks went forward overnight. Both these two fully wound up for the next couple of hours. Saracens in white, Leicester in the colours that you will be all too familiar with. Taken in by Tom Willis. Fraser Balmain waits, and eventually he gets it. I think he thought he was going to go the other way, and then all of a sudden it was his round at the bar. As a result, yeah, Leicester.
Well, Balmain stayed down, he's in trouble.
He's hurt himself. We've barely played 45 seconds.
I've got no idea, lads. Just give me a second here.
Poor old Fraser Balmain, who got a pass he wasn't expecting in the end, has taken a clattering as well.
We're not doing that.
Yeah,
that's a penalty. If it is foul play, we will see it, but I'm not having players do that. Not having it.
Looking to come down the left-hand side.
No, not now.
Angus Hall was pointing with 3 Tigers in front of him, saying, no, don't come my way.
Elbow,
change of direction, it's sort of over the shoulder.
I'll come to find you at the next one. If it's foul play, we will review it. I don't want you running around streaming.
Just that left knee gets caught underneath him, goes immediately.
Time off for the injury, please. Time is off for the injury.
Maro Itoje was just asking about whether...
Yeah, look, there's no foul play in the injury.
Catterud
used his
forearm as a shield away from the body. If it's close to the body, it's okay, but as soon as there's separation, it's the same as striking someone.
I didn't want players running around screaming at me from 40 seconds in.
It's been a noisy start for Luke Pearce. It's been a painful start for Fraser Balmain, and a potentially game-ending start for Balmain, who needs no introductions around here after his time as a Tiger. Austin.
Yeah, just look in. We spoke about Tompkins in the breakdown. Just watch what he does in this first tackle. It's a good hit. They get him to ground. They carry out of here. They keep going. Now, he makes the tackle, does well, gets out. But watch what he does with his feet. He stands up in the ruck and then swings his feet over and through. Just that's constantly a pain for the 9.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So it's something Leinster do really well, and as a result, Ireland do it a lot as well. You go in legally forwards, and often those two teams will hit the edge of a ruck, but then you swing your legs round, so your entry point is legal. You've gone through the gate, but then you use your legs to fall on top of the ball and slow everything down.
You're right, Fraser.
It's just that nightmare for a 9, particularly as they go to pick up the ball and a leg lands on top of it. That's when you're likely to fumble it. So they'll back off, they'll take a couple of seconds, and then all that momentum goes out of the attack.
Well, it is the earliest of change.
You all right?
Marco Riccioni battalion on, and very early concern for Mark McCall and Joe Shaw, the head coach.
You sound like you.
Balmain, who's had injury issues
No worries.
recently. That looked like more of a shoulder problem. Won the Premiership title with Leicester in 2013, moved recently from Bristol to London, and Riccione on significantly earlier than Saracens would have wanted. What are you looking at here, Ross?
Well, I'm just having a look and clipping up, actually. When you know there's going to be a lot of kicking in the game, a good tactic, and Sarries used to do this quite a lot with Vunipola, stand him in the backfield so the backs aren't taking the ball. It's exactly what's happened here. They sacrifice one in the front, but look who's in the backfield. Willis probably didn't expect to catch it, and that scenario is there to support as much as he is to actually take the ball forward. If the ball's too far, your back three catches it, distributes to a really strong ball carrier, stops you getting turned over as much from the high kicks. So Sarries have been very good at that over the years, at putting back rowers back there.
They also used to use Scott Brits when he was their best attacking runner. So no surprise that Willis is the top carrier, top contact meters, defenders beaten. You put your best player back there to run back, a little bit like off a rugby league kickoff. You'd make sure that your best ball carrier is there to take it.
Billy Vunipola as well.
Okay.
Potentially a leg injury by the looks of things, clearly. Either way, that is the saddest end to Fraser Balmain's afternoon. Leicester with this attacking line-out. Without Chesham today, pulling out before kick-off, that's gone loose.
Varney Saracens for knock on.
Picked up by Maui.
Okay,
Sarries with that advantage, Luke Pearce telling us about.
That's a really poor pass from JVP. Put his guys under a lot of pressure, Pollard there. He knows as well, doesn't he? Often you find when you catch this, watch his back foot. He hasn't really got any plant on the floor. To get a decent bit of power into the ball, you've got to have your feet on the floor. And that's why the pass died on Pollard. Turned a really positive attacking situation into defending your own half now.
It's been good though.
That's
reaching once again the heights he hit before that ankle injury a couple of years ago. Tompkins, Saracens attacking Lazowski, nicely lifted up for Daly. And this is Tobias Elliott trying to link up with Angus Hall, first Premiership start, but not no better than that for Saracens. They're working hard to win the ball back here, however, and Leicester have suddenly got to restock, and they didn't restock quickly enough. Ivan Fonsale comes away with it for Saracens, away quickly by Riccione. Lazowski again, and really opening up here. McFarland away one-handed. And then this is Gonzalez with the advantage. And then Daly back in field to Lazowski. That's gone forwards, might be deliberate.
Yeah, that looked like a knock-on deliberately going for the ball there, Nick. I want to look at that.
Still, however, through the middle, picked up by Gonzalez. Fonsale.
Still advantage, still advantage.
This is a Toje, harem-scarum stuff. It might be try-scoring stuff in a minute. Here goes Hall. There's a lot to pick over once this comes to an end. It might come to an end in a try for Saracens yet. Gonzalez, Juan Martin Gonzalez. Hard work over the ball from Harry Wells. But still Saracens and Willis and now Tompkins, and then lifted across to Hall. Willis has a bulldoze of his own, very nearly got there. Riccione in isolation at the moment. It goes beyond him, however, to George, who buys the ticket and comes up with a winner.
Well, good patience from Saracens. With how it went, you might have felt they felt under pressure to score. Willis here, that counter-ruck is huge. That makes all the difference to the turnover. He ignores the ball as part of the tackle, just gets up and drives forward. Montoya does really well to stop the offload here, but Saracens don't panic. Just wondering whether there's a little knock-on there, actually. But then get the ball to width into some space and reset.
Alex, you want a second bit? Oh, he's up.
Before George and Itoje combined really well to go over, but I think they will have a little look in the background whether there was a little knock-on. after that carry from Gonzalez.
So Alex Lazowski on kicking detail. Fergus Burke down injured, but Lazowski happily with the 2. Saracens very happily with the early 7.
Yeah, they had the patience, didn't they, to go through those phases. It did look like a deliberate knock-on on the wide, but I suppose it doesn't really matter now.
This is that counter-ruck that gives them the opportunity. I will have a look at it after the kick-off, but Jack Willis just having... Sorry, having such a big impact already. There he is on the ball.
Sarries, use it, please.
Toje driving in on the angle. A little bit of space for Van Sale. Rather shy of giving the ball a boot, and off he goes. Chasing hard is Hall. Very nearly got there. Taken a little bit of pressure by Freddie Stewart.
Such good spatial awareness from Stewart, though. He could see Hall in his eye line and took a step back. Wasn't distracted, didn't feel the need to get off the ground, knew he wasn't going to get there.
9. 15.
Oh, that's a fabulous kick. Tight angle.
This is that Willis counter-ruck I was talking about. Involved in the tackle, and ignores the ball, takes 3 Leicester players out, and that gives them the opportunity for everyone else to counter-ruck and for Van Sale to pick up the ball. Huge moment in the game.
Montasha. Henderson had his arms in the air, but it went to the front to Wells, and Pollard, that's being dropped. Kata.
Timing's off, isn't it?
First knock on the line. Get a second.
To be fair, it all started from not getting clean ball at the line out. Saracens putting a lot of pressure on everything that Leicester are doing at the minute. Breakdown, line out, set piece, kick chase. But you've got to readjust. If you see the ball coming off the floor or not as well off the 9, you can't be that flat, Kata. Just got to wait.
Benefited last week, Tigers from Northampton, unable to get any fluidity to their attack. They've started their first 2 real attacking positions. Lineouts on the 22 with 2 mistakes.
Solid Leicester scrum. They built the win in London on the back of the scrum earlier in the season. And the penalty going against Marco Riccioni.
Attacking play from the Leicester backline, not singing though, although they'd already won the penalty. Van Sale steps into the slot. They were trying to overload 1 defender with 4 runners. The ball was popped up. Van Sale read it really well. If I was in the Leicester pack, I'd be thinking, we've given the backs the ball a few times. They've not done anything with it. Let's have a little drive ourselves.
Liebenberg brings it down. Montasha slips back round as he always will. Van Portfleet will have to use this, however. And this is Joseph Woodward, one of those who really stood out a week ago.
Number 13 on 12.
That's the finger at Solomon Akata again, who's not had a brilliant start to this match.
Not really, no, but he knows it, doesn't he?
13 tackling Nick Tompkins past the ruck.
We're just hearing there from Luke Pearce. He took Tompkins past the ruck. They will have spoken about Nick Tompkins in the week, about how good he is in the breakdowns, what a nuisance he is. So your job is get him out of the way, but sometimes you just go a little bit too far. And if you do it too far right in front of the referee, you get pinged. It's a reasonable carry. It's not really a ruck because there's no... Tompkins milks it a bit.
Brilliant from Tompkins, because he actually didn't go into the breakdown. Started backing off, kidded Kata, and then fell on the floor and made the referee make a decision.
Tompkins whips it out to Lazowski, and Daly looked interested, so too Burke. Saracens pinging it around nicely. And they will have the scrum.
Just knocked it on at the end.
Really good turnover from Leicester. Was it Rafael on the floor? I don't think, to be fair, Cato was expecting this ball to pop out. That's Woodward actually gets his hand in. The ball flipped up from Rafael and Cato can't hold it.
Let's go. Bind up, lads.
21-year-old, hugely impressive introduction to the Premiership this season. We saw Matt Sajomo and Seb Atkinson to full effect yesterday. Woodward's go today, up against the Wales international Nick Tompkins.
Huge scrum for Maui this. Leicester got a penalty on the last scrum. They'll want this in and out fairly quickly, not allow Leicester a momentum shifting another penalty.
Use please, Saracens. Both down together.
Fun sale. It was Tobias Elliott popping up in the fly half position. No way through for Tompkins, Maui. And then this is Lazowski and George. And now a galloping Theo McFarland. Again, the one-handed pass to George, who's already got one try. Fun sale gets Saracens going again quickly. Heading towards the shadows, heading towards the try line. Juan Martin Gonzalez, they've been ruthless anywhere near that point.
That's a game of red zone efficiency, isn't it?
Yeah, agreed.
Leicester 3 attacks, 3 drop balls. Saracens electric and so good with the ball. Lovely carry from McFarland down that right-hand side. George does well to recycle, and then the way Gonzalez treads water and holds his run just for the right moment. He has to actually stop and then go again to make sure he doesn't overrun the pass. And I actually think the defender probably think, well, he's not an option now, he's going to overrun this. And he steps too quickly, opens up a gap. Gonzalez goes through under the sticks. Perfect start for the away team.
As you mentioned, Ben, just players actually stepping out beyond the ball defensively. Cracknell's isolated. There's too much gap there between those 3 defenders. And just creating that amount of space is so difficult. I think it's JVP as the second defender that ends up going long in the arms, but past the ball. Got to sort out your defence. Saracens actually playing a lot more rugby than I thought they would in the early 10 minutes.
They have been very good. Good value for their 2-try, 14-point lead. George and Gonzalez's scores converted by Lazowski.
Okay, he's broken away.
Liebenberg spotted Tompkins getting a penalty. Thinks we'll have a little go at that.
13 down there, number 6 taking a player outside the ruck here.
It's so easy to do, isn't it, Ben? Because if you feel yourself getting hit, Nick, and he hasn't gripped you around the feet, you just take 2 or 3 steps backwards and then fall and scream, and it becomes over-evident. You know, Tompkins milked that one, Liebenberg milked the same.
He's not happy, is he?
There's a face of fury, undiluted. Ulster fury. Familiar position for Montosha, for Leicester, for Liebenberg. Second visit. Oh, Rafael, who was looking for Montosha as he took the double tackle. Nicky Smith going low, lining hard, not quite. Hayes working with the ball. Still going. Oh, he's held up just short.
What they've done brilliantly there is hold it up and pull it over the line. Itoji's telling the referee we've pulled that over the line.
There's the peak.
Come on, up we come.
What's the decision?
He hasn't decided yet.
It's a Leicester scrum.
I'll explain why. Everyone up. It's a total mess, and then he gets shoved over. They can't give you the try, so it's your scrum. No, but they need to release one. I agree, but
I think Jamie George is going to go and ask why it wasn't held up over the line, because they actually pulled the ball back.
It was in the end because he nudged him over, and then everyone thinks they have to release him, so it's just chaos. Because technically you should release. Technically they shouldn't shove him over. So but I wouldn't have given it. He shoved him over. Scrum 5.
Once again, a scrum that was dominant in the fixture earlier in the season, in a very juicy position here for Leicester. working hard. Shove from Saracens. Van Poortvliet had to get it away. Pollard tries to snake his way through. Leicester keeping it tight. Not quite again. Or maybe. Luke Pearce peering through limbs. It's Tom Willis who comes up with it.
Give me a sec. Pete.
Yes, Luke. Yep.
I've got it held up to the end, but can you just check he doesn't score on the first go, please?
Yeah, we'll do.
So
just
held up, so on field is no try. It's definitely held up on the second go. It's just whether he gets it on the first and brings it back.
Peter Allen, the
see the ball grounded here.
It's going to be close, this, isn't it? Just looking on the angle that he picks.
I'm just checking whether he scores on the first go. Oh, what is the on field is no try. He's held up at the end.
That's brilliant from Willis. He targets the ball at the beginning and gets his arm underneath the ball. What a defensive effort that is. He has to come in from the side. I think that is unbelievable good defence.
Hasn't he got it down, though? Oh, the ball looks down to me on that first impact.
You've got to actually see the ball down, haven't you? You can't just say, oh, I think it's down, because of the referee's
still just checking, Luke.
Question. On the one before, it looks down. His hand doesn't look below the ball there to me.
Nothing's looking clear to turn over on field.
It's got to be clear and obvious, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, let's take a close look then. I think that's hit the ground.
His hand's under the ball.
No, Luke, there's no evidence to overturn your on-field decision.
Yeah, come back then.
Because he wasn't directly opposite him. That is an unbelievable tackle from Willis. What an impact he's having on this game.
Mentioning the work of, is it Lazowski, who just got on the other side as well and created an additional wedge. Saracens sharp in attack so far. Teak tough in defence. Cracknell, head down. Off he goes. Been doing that all season, as much as anyone, more than anyone in the Gallagher Premiership. Kata, oh, brilliantly, and then away by Stewart and Liebenberg. Radwan was the option to the right. 3 tries in 3 games for Radwan. This is Montosha. Wells takes the hit from McFarland. Pollard over the top, chased by Radwan. Loose ball. Initially by McFarland and then Atoje. Those on the terrace in front of us wondering if Atoje was offside.
Well, not go quickly here.
They do go quickly. Kata! If he can get it away, Leicester have got to score, surely. He got it away, but not cleanly, so plenty of work for Hassel Collins to do.
Okay.
Rafael.
Definitely over the shoulder, was it?
Yes.
Okay, advantage. High tackle.
Wells. Leicester have got the penalty. Radwan with his arm up on this near right-hand side. He's being covered by Daly. Pollard, and then Kata goes on his own, and, well, we've seen them come off this weekend, but Kata slamming the turf in frustration.
I'm sure Radwan is as well, Nick. Loads of attacking opportunity, no more so than one of the fastest guys in the league in a bit of space. Give him the ball. Liebenberg does all the right thing apart from selling the dummy. I think Radwan's had 2 chances there. That goes to hand early. Radwan scores. The earlier one with Liebenberg. Here he is. There's the first one. There's the offload. Couldn't quite get his hands free, could he?
Front pod's yours, Cap.
Radwan will be annoyed because the kick over the top, he had called. It just wasn't executed right from Pollard. If it's on the money, he scores there as well. So 2, 3 bombed opportunities for him.
Wells with the catch. Montosha folding in.
Still going.
Still allowed to continue with the shoving, but there's a penalty against Juan Martin Gonzalez by the looks of things.
Number 1 Leicester by number 1 Saracens. 15 mark, boys. You can go line out again if you want to. Okay, line again.
Because it was from a line-out drive, the penalty.
Lads.
Don't have to kick it into touch. Repeat that line out.
Timing, please.
Off at the end of the season, Michael Checker. First time here at Mattioli Woods, Welford Road since he announced that decision. Once more Wells at the front. Once more the old favourite. There they are, Leicester in kneel back corner. Montosha has to go on his own. You saw him look cleverly up at Luke Pearce to see if he needed to. He was told he had to, and that's cost him a metre or two, but not possession. Leicester 20 phases inside Saracens 22, yet to register a score. Maybe now with Henderson. Pollard, always hit back hard. George with the tackle. It is ferocious Saracens defence, but again, being questioned by Cracknell and co. Van Portfleet, Liebenberg. Again, Radwan reminding his bigger mates of his presence on this right wing. Everything looking towards the left at the moment, though, away by Woodward. Quickly! And Stewart in. A lot of pressure, a lot of pressure. Finally a Leicester try.
Well, I'll be delighted with that because the Saracens' defence was exceptional in the build-up. Some big tackles, but Leicester held their patience, tying in defenders. 3 go in for that one tackle. They've got a lot of numbers wide. That one wide pass takes out another 4 defenders, creates a one-on-one. And when you've got someone with the strength, power and size of Freddie Stewart, that's all you want to give them. One-on-one opportunity, and he just swerves on the pass. And you can see the defence have been so good up until that stage, and then maybe they just got a bit carried away with keeping the physicality, trying to get too many 2-on-1 tackles, and they gifted Stewart an opportunity. Still took some finishing. He did very well.
Freddie Stewart has scored 4 in his last 6 Premiership games, and it's converted by Pollard.
I think this try is a case of actually don't actually trust what you watch on the video. Last week Leicester scored a try by passing it across Pollard. Pollard loops around the outside. This time they think he's getting the ball. It's coming out the back. So he just go a little bit too far defensively. Watch what it does to the defence. They're just a little bit too far, actually. Stewart's the defensive man's. I couldn't quite see who it was actually there on the camera, but I think it was Tompkins. Couldn't quite see him because he'd seen last week Leicester had scored a try by going across to Woodward, ball out the back to Pollard, they score.
Fergusberg pumps it long. Cracknell, Leicester's big truck. Hayes.
Okay, you two.
Leicester responding to Saracens' 2 early tries scored by George and Gonzalez. Leicester have had a lot of time in Saracens' half, and now finally some measure of reward. Leicester think they've got this back. Such was the speed on the floor of the skipper.
A lot of frustration. Tompkins screaming because they just lost their shape and they're reliant on players going off. Burke goes, Van Zijl thinks I'll have the offload, so there's no one in behind, and
under the body of the Sarries player.
Montoya just has an age to make his decision, make sure he doesn't do anything illegal, and then he just hangs in there. And because Burke was exposed, he had to lie on top of the ball, which means you don't have to show an effort to lift it to the referee. You just have to hang in there and survive the contact, and you're going to get rewarded.
It's the 7th penalty Saracens have conceded, and it's costing them territory, and increasingly it's putting them under pressure. And once more Leicester with this attacking line-out.
So +1 is 9.
Leicester dominant in phase terms. Woodward, Cracknell, George nudged away. Cam Henderson. Kata. Sharp footwork. For the softest route into Saracens' defenders. Away by Pollard and Woodward. Aware that Radwan was on his own with 3 defenders waiting. So resets Cracknell. Willis over the top. Tommy Raffel. Cracknell again. 5th carry. And a hefty one from Wells, almost cracks the wood.
Number 1, you're offside.
Saracens winning it back.
Speed on that onto that ball. We know how good his brother is. This is rivaling it. Great carry from Wells with the footwork, but he's isolated,
So
straight in, sees the ball, long place from Wells, so it's difficult, but his accuracy to target the ball and not the grass, superb. And then because he's already lifted it and played it, it doesn't matter that he's fallen to the ground.
We need to at the end, please. Crack on, mate.
He's back in club colours off the back of a Six Nations, where he really established himself as a test match beast.
One thing I would say, Oz, is the massive. We've talked about why are Leicester attacking a bit better since the break. The ruck speed is much quicker, isn't it?
Yeah. JVP's in place early, get the ball away. That's a good carry back, isn't it?
Saracens without Marco Riccioni at the moment. The replacement prop now down injured himself, so Leicester with a little bit of extra space to run into. And Riccioni's back on his feet. He's got some heavy strapping on that right knee and he doesn't look entirely comfortable. Riccioni on very early for Fraser Balmain within the first few seconds, if you were late joining us.
Another thing we speak about, isn't it, a lot about the 6-2 split on the bench, Nick. You end up losing 2 of your tight heads or 2 of your loose heads, as opposed to everyone thinking, what happens if you lose 2 backs? But if you go uncontested and you're really heavy in terms of weight on the bench, you haven't really got as much impact anymore.
9 is +1.
We'll need to keep him on Riccioni. If they lose him, go uncontested, they'd have to take another player off as well.
Willis pedaling furiously. George pointing the way, comes back the other side to Elliott, Tobias Elliott. Oh, Leicester again so quick over the ball, the Argentinian. The South African quick with the ball, sensing the space, and that'll do very nicely. 2 world-class interventions from Leicester's Argentinian and South African.
He would have wanted it to stay in because it's Jamie George racing Ollie Hassel-Collins. If this stays in, it's a try. I think he's aiming to do that, but it just takes a wicked first bounce. There's no way George was going to be able to outrace Hassel-Collins there.
He'd have told you that he had him. He just came off the gears because he knew it was going out.
+1 is 9 again.
Who set Leicester on the way to that glorious win at the Gardens with the early try. He's already in the try-scoring business for Leicester. Mid-season switch from Newcastle. Hayes away quickly to Montosha. Jack Van Portfleet, or rather this is Montosha. Kata just had to hold his run, the ball not quite as quick as he was anticipating. Van Portfleet, Liebenberg. Tony Raffel making sure that Nero Itoje wasn't part of the debate.
Tackle 18, let it go. Good work, thank you, Marco.
Riccioni needs to give that one up. Liebenberg went down the blind side looking for support. Now here's Radwan. Had to take the hit. Sturdy hit from Angus Hall. Teenager, 19-year-old. Smith. Leicester spending an awful lot of time digging in this area at the moment. Still trailing, 2 tries to 1.
Okay, use it, please.
Drop goal, Pollard. Sweet.
As much a statement of intent as anything else. Happy that they'd been bombarding but weren't really going anywhere, nothing really on. Let's just bank 3 points. And for all Saracens, lightning start. Leicester have forced their way back into this game, and now, certainly in terms of the momentum, seem to be on top. And Pollard thinks, let's bank some points while we've got that momentum.
It's back at Mattioli Woods, Welford Road, for the first time since he confirmed he's leaving at the end of the season, returning to South Africa. And the Bulls in Pretoria talk that it's the biggest deal in South African rugby history. That's how much it takes to buy yourself a Andre Pollard these days. Plenty of chat about who Leicester might replace him with. Perhaps get into that in the next few minutes.
Okay, Jack, let's go. Take it in, lads. Taken in.
What do you know, Nick?
Well, lots of gossip, all of it unfounded, but it won't stop us. Here's Burke. And here's Willis. A little Campese goose step, or at least a half a goose step.
No.
Oh, Tompkins away so quickly. Kata was on him in a flash, but Tompkins found Lazowski. Riccioni and Saracens can still make the most of this. In fact, it's Maui in the end who gets it. Van Sale.
Jamie, stop.
Here's one to compete. Hall, not quite. It was in the end claimed well by Stewart.
Use it, please. Obstruction by number 1.
Leicester penalty.
Number 1. Took him out, didn't allow him to.
Let's have a chat with Rob Webber, part of Saracens'
number 1
coaching setup. Have you got a notebook down there, Rob? And if you do, what's on it? What's on your mind?
Hi, yeah, I think a great game, isn't it? Really physical from both teams. And I think we started obviously really, really well, and then we've just let them back in, haven't we, with ill discipline and probably a bit of a poor kicking game. So I think if we can sharpen up our discipline in the middle, you know, we get back to that attacking rugby we saw in the first sort of 10 minutes, we'll be in a better place for sure.
We're all enjoying the battle at the breakdown. What have you talked about this week in terms of the technique you need to frustrate Leicester, slow them down a little bit maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. They've got some great poachers, haven't they? I think, you know, just try and avoid Rafael and Montoya will be a good start.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rob.
Cheers.
Wells.
Montoya's thrown nearly every throw too low, and it's given Saracens a chance. They've got their hand in on a couple, didn't quite manage it there.
Ball is out.
Wells needs that at the top of his jump, really.
Foot. Okay.
Can't play the 9, can you?
Just advantage of knock on.
Nice forward by Leicester.
Okay? See what comes. Let's go. Wait a minute. Use it, please. Let's go. Still scrum advantage. Okay, use it, please, Saris. No, hang on, wait, no hands yet. Okay, let's go, 9. Advantage over.
Van Sale. Saracens playing against the breeze in this first half. It is swirling around, but trying to work it out. I think the wind is at Leicester's backs for the time being.
Just outside.
And, well, that'll do for Saracens. They'll try to put some pressure on this Leicester lineup.
Yeah, he's got a particularly good kicking game, hasn't he, Van Sale? You saw 2 different kicks there. The short one, contestable, and then he knew that he'd got the ball back, so there's nobody in the backfield, and he goes for the 50-22.
We're going to carry on playing, lads. Let's go.
He's the Premiership's most prolific kicker out of hand this season. Fresh from agreeing a new contract as well. He's so important to the club, Van Sale, not just on the pitch, but the work he does off it, bringing the players together. Henderson. Leicester working their way out from their own half. Pollard might be a bit too close to Daly. He rose well. Held on to by Radwan. Van Sale. George. Oh, goodness me. Jamie George. Hello. Oh, and well, we can edit that bit out because up to that point it was lovely.
Look at his disappointment. If only I had my 23-year-old hamstrings. The kick is just delightful. Maybe he wants the ball to sit up a little bit more.
It just dies on him, doesn't it? Almost goes backwards.
You okay, man? Scrum advantage. Yeah, you kicked it, made it up to here. So, thanks for playing. Let's go. Okay, let's go.
He didn't deserve that bounce.
Let's go. Let's go. Okay, just control. No, let's go. Come on. Let's not.
Saw that a lot from Ben in his playing days when he'd almost done something brilliant.
No, it wasn't slapping the ground, Oz. Slapping the back of your head. Oh, you've got such a big bald spot.
Penalty, if you don't mind.
See how breezy it is. Testing the roots of Ivan Van Sale's thatch.
Okay, Leicester, yes, please. Let's go. They both sunk at the same time.
Van Portfleet, bouncing ball, spits up, maybe a little bit too much. And we're coming all the way back. That was nicely judged by Daly, not so much so by Jack Van Portfleet.
He attempted to put a little bit of an outside banana on that. He was hoping it was going to roll round. Unfortunately, when it dug into the turf, it just carried on straight.
There is a camber here, Nick, when you play. If you can get the ball to bounce inside the 15, it normally does shape towards the touchline. Until you've walked out on that Welford Road pitch, you don't actually realise how much of a camber there is.
This scrum's becoming increasingly interesting, and just a suspicion that Leicester are getting on top.
But Luke Pearce is making sure you have to work really hard to keep the opposition up. If it all goes down, he's not going to reward you unless you're going forward. So if you feel you've got that upper hand, you have to hold them up. Good scrum from Sarries, though.
And they win the penalty. Aroni Maui on this near side, shoving hard.
Hips out first.
Penalty actually went against Nicky Smith on the other side, who's wrestling Marco Riccioni, but plenty of good work to admire there.
The fascinating thing about the battle is he feels the last two scrums he should have been rewarded with a penalty. Referee said no, use it.
Nicky
so he's
good.
Thinking
pressure came on, his hips came out. That was the first offence, but I agree afterwards he jumps the angle, but but he asked me the question.
But Nicky Smith,
I agree after, but the first problem is your backside is there. Sorry, Alex. Sorry to be fussy. The mark is here, mate.
But Nicky Smith, he's now thinking,
there's no
I haven't
shot
been
clock,
rewarded
so
because he's almost let them go
I'll
to
let you know
ground.
when there is one
I'm going to have to go
60
really
seconds.
quickly here and almost force the issue of a penalty, and he ends up being illegal, giving away a penalty himself.
Well, because of the breeze, this kick not quite as simple as it looks back home on your sofa. He'll need a good connection, which he got.
He's missed it.
Yes.
And on that one, I thought he went first. Sorry, you went first, then he went.
It's been a bit of a problem, hasn't it, this season for them? Sarries kicking off the tee, percentage-wise. Burke's at 63, and I think Lazowski at 63 as well, 64.
Yeah, they're missing the bloke who kicked their goals last season. Actually, I saw Owen Farrell linked with Leicester a few weeks ago. One of the more fanciful bits of gossip that we can throw out there over the next half an hour.
I heard it was Carlos Spencer.
Did you?
Yeah. Thanks, Peter. OK, use it, please.
Great signing, Carlos. Bet you he can still play.
What a player. What a player.
Sarries, use, please.
Van Sale. That's a tempting one for the chasers. And
backwards.
Elliott did brilliantly to get it back on the Saracen side, and having been on the back foot for the last 20 minutes or so, despite the bright start, Saracens ending the half on the front foot. Lazowski. Liebenberg was his first port of call. Van Sale with the acceleration of Toje. Leicester have to beware the penalty. Beyond Tizard to Riccioni, and then drifted over the top to Elliott, and it takes a lot to bring him down, but Sarries within 10 metres. George. Riccioni once more tumbling forwards. Behind Maui to Tompkins, a little shudder and a shake. One more big bit of defensive work for Leicester to do before half-time.
OK, use it, please.
Potentially significant moments. Laid back by Tom Willis. Again, beyond Tizard to Riccioni. Just pops it up for
use, please.
Maui. Burke. Had a look. Toje.
OK, 9, let's go. Use it, please.
Maybe Tizard now. It's in with some thump. Oh, drop goal, Lazowski! And we've had 2 in the first half. Pollard and now Alex Lazowski just before half-time.
I think it's the right decision as well. They were losing their numbers and their width in their attack, and they were only a couple of phases away from potentially being turned over. So absolutely the right choice. Connects with that one perfectly, doesn't he?
We've only had 4 drop goals all season before today.
Really? I bet you Ben can name them.
I'll go first.
Okay,
I'll
Saracens,
go
use
Pollard and
it.
Lazowski.
9, let's
That's
go.
2.
Carlos Spencer, Dan Carter.
Take it
There you
in.
go, nailed it.
Surely
It's
Wilco
carried
got
in.
one.
Yeah, that's gone out on the fall from Funsale, who apologises to his mates and gets a bit of Leicester encouragement.
Toji stayed down.
Got some time? Time, please.
Rubbing the back of his calf.
Hey, Jack. Thanks, sir. Gatsby. Thanks, sir.
So those Leicester fly halves, or potential Leicester fly halves, Jack Crowley heavily linked. The Munster and Ireland 10 sounds very much like Jack Crowley is going to stay in Limerick. However, Leicester came close to nearly persuading him that the East Midlands was the place to spend the next few years of his life. Very, very heavy whispers now that Gareth Anscombe, who is leaving Gloucester at the end of the season, is next on the list.
You'd have to think that Anscombe was a year fill-in for somebody more permanent at his age, wouldn't you? I really like the look of Benson. I know we've only seen a little bit of him, but what I have seen, I've been super impressed with.
You okay, Mark?
Goal kicking, super high percentage, quick,
Not sure yet.
good all-round
Just on
field
this one,
position
how many,
kicking,
please?
attacks well. Do you go for a younger guy and try and build with them this is another big piece of information that Maui off.
Yeah, meantime, that's a tactical change, we're being told. Rhys Carey on for a Roni Maui when they've already got Marco Riccioni on because Fraser Balmain's injured. He will be able to come back should there be another injury, because it is a tactical change, but even so, why would you make that change 2 minutes before half-time?
That's really
I don't
good.
know
He's
this,
he's
but I
trying to
just
move.
wonder whether Maui is a designated tight head as well.
I think it's just a scrum, Pete.
So I'm just wondering whether they're keeping him just in case they need him later in the game. It's the only thing I can think of.
Instinct rather than deliberate.
Yeah.
Here's Woodward to Radwan. Again, he's got an awful lot of work to do. Leicester haven't really found him in space so far today. Atoje tries to hold him up.
Okay,
And
advantage
wrestles
now
it
for the knock-on.
back to the pitch.
If it was deliberate, I'll come back, obviously.
Nicky Smith with the charge, and Jack Van Portfeet very nearly through. Tompkins holding on for grim life, and he needed to. 40th minute of it's been a fascinating first half. And Stewart catches for Leicester with the wind and the roars of the big stand opposite in his ears. Carey was over it, but not quickly enough, and Kata and Montosha. Cracknell, half a dozen visits into Saracens 22 now. 50 phases in the 22, the 50th leads to a penalty. Theo McFarlane with the ball, but not legally according to Luke Pearce.
Is that their 10th, 11th penalty this half?
Yeah, I didn't think he won it clean on the first one.
Every time we appear, there are like several penalties in this area.
Okay.
I know if you are going to warn them or...
Quite yet.
And Julio Montosha making the point that after 11 penalties it might be time for a warning, but Luke Pearce ready just yet.
Well, good time to say it as well as the captain, because if now Saracens commit an offence trying to defend this drive, it's in the referee's head.
Once more to Liebenberg at the front. Saracens have defended these moments well so far. One big defensive effort and they'll be ahead at half-time, but this is looking ominous. Montosha, oh, he was deflected away when it looked as if he had to score.
What a tackle that is on the line. Was it Van Sale or Burke? It was incredible. Burke wasn't it?
Sorry, let it go.
Henderson looks interested. Willis saying he's allowed to hold on. The referee disagreeing. Leicester go the other way and score. And it's Liebenberg who comes up with it.
Smart from Liebenberg. The tackle, as Austin said, is unbelievable, but when Willis is speaking to the referee, I think he feels that everyone else switches off. There's the little breakout. It's Tompkins, isn't it?
Oh,
what a hit that is.
So good.
But then, as they come back to the other side, Carey almost got taken out by Wells. He's got to ignore Wells. The ball's not there. I think that's maybe what Willis was saying.
Nothing clear, Pete.
No.
Wells does a really good job of spinning his hips to make it as difficult as possible for the new prop.
Just want to make sure
Liebenberg, eyes on the prize, straight over the line.
24, so I won't start it until you're happy to go again. Pete, are we all right on that near side for that try?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Yep. Yes.
Can you hear me?
I've got you. Yeah. Can you hear me?
He's cleared it. Oh,
yep.
Look, I can't hear him. Thanks, mate. Just keep the clock off just for a second. Let me know when you're ready to go. We've checked it. It's okay. We've checked it. Okay, shot clock on, please.
Andre Pollard, who kicked from an acute angle at Allianz Stadium at Twickenham a few weeks ago against Quins to rescue a draw. This to put Leicester level at half-time. Not on this occasion. Good first half, that. Jamie George and Juan Martin Gonzalez very early on in the first 10 minutes for Saracens. Freddie Stewart after lots of Leicester pressure for the Tigers. Pollard and Lazowski with drop goals of their own, and then Hanro Liebenberg just before the break. Half-time, Mattioli Woods, Welford Road, Danny Kerr and Craig Shortley reflecting on this scoreline. Leicester 15, Saracens 17.
Thanks, guys.
Andre Pollard in the East Midlands sunshine. Toje tried to get underneath it, didn't get underneath it cleanly. However, the force of nature that is Tom Willis makes sure that he does get it back. There's Angus Hall. Burke. That's one to chase, maybe too close to Pollard in the end, who had Hassel Collins for support, decided that the boot was the best option, and the ball beats everybody.
Yeah, that's one he definitely wanted to stay on the field of play, wasn't it? Did really well to slide through the tackle and get his hands free. But you want physicality from your team, and you come out and you miss your first 3 tackles. Doesn't really set the tone, does it?
Jamie George, 201st Premiership game for the club, 200th in Tottenham last Saturday.
Player swap.
This ball taken in by Cracknell. Wells shoulders it up. Catter. Seen a lot of ball in that first half, only Cracknell carried more. Front sail, yeah. And here's Radwan in a maze, but adept at finding himself
Advantage over.
the way out. Pollard flings it back to Catter. This is nice. Stewart, Liebenberg. Oh! Hassel Collins was the temptation away to the left. Saracens defence bit on it. Liebenberg clattered through. He scored 2 either side of half-time.
It's brilliant for Leicester, but I think Saracens have fallen asleep at half-time. Van Sale's loose here, but then watch all the grey shirts after the turnover flock back towards the breakdown, and how many stay ineffective in and around the breakdown. Look at all those grey shirts, no one getting into position. They're tight. Leicester know all they have to do is play around them out the back, and Leicester have a 2-man overlap on that outside, and they pick them off really smartly with accuracy. But Mark McCall will be fuming with the response to that turnover. Liebenberg really good, just running hard, showing the ball, pump, making defenders make the decision for him, straightens up.
He's got it. You're spot on, Ben. They went way too close to the breakdown in terms of numbers and width. Look how many there is. There's 5 guys there defensively, all within 18 metres. You can't defend when you've conceded ground, and lots on the far side as well. And as Leicester get to the corner, even an athlete of the quality of Gonzalez, who covers across, can't get to Liebenberg. It's a good finish in the end. Good start for Leicester.
It's not a great conversion as McFarlane tried to rescue it back for Saracens, who all of a sudden find themselves behind in this contest for the first time, having established an early 14-0 lead after the tries for George and Gonzalez in the opening 10 minutes. Leicester have muscled their way back into it.
Okay,
Willis.
use it, please.
No, it's this is Saracens' ball, however, next. Van Sale with the win, we think, in this second half. That was a little bit too far, and Stewart had it. Pollard with some work to do.
Inside. Tackle was complete. Now he's outside.
He's allowed to go on. Smith.
Okay, Leicester, use it, please. Orange boots, man. Good man, thank you.
And Portley.
That's a good kick.
Michael Checker saying this week that he's not worrying about the bigger picture at the moment. Test matches, Lions, all that nonsense. He's just enjoying the game, and it's starting to show. Reminding us what he can do after frustrating time away with injury.
+1's 9.
Wales doing what he could
Varnish,
to
5, wrong side, entry.
affect Gonzalez.
5.
However, the penalty goes against Wales.
A little bit silly from Wells.
Went
he attacked
across
in the air
and then
landed on the wrong
number
side,
5.
and he knows he should have if he just stayed there, the referee would have let him get away with it, but because he attempts to play the ball coming out, that's good competition, but he falls the wrong side. Now just leave it.
Daly's kick. Saracens. And the assistant has wandered a pleasingly lengthy way back from the try line for those in
I think he must have the sun of his eyes.
+1's 9. Oh, sorry,
Paul went at least 10 metres further than that.
Swap.
Certainly seemed to. Anyway, those in the stand below us weren't unhappy. This is Elliott. Van Sale. Gonzalez. Burke, Tompkins, Lazowski, and Daly, really nicely done. And then this is Hall. Oh, what a finish! First Premiership start, and that will be a very special moment for the teenager Hall if it's given.
Speed of the handling is amazing. Referee's just asking the TMO just to check that final pass. He's happy that he was in line with it.
A great finish, but you got all the time.
But really nice. This transfer, brilliant from Daly. Leicester fans don't think it was straight. The referee said he was in line with it. And then lovely finish, shaping the body, feet up, ball down. That's a great finish.
Thank you. Okay, are you right with the shot clock back on? Yeah. Okay, time back on, please.
Angus Hall be busying himself with England in the under-20 Six Nations, and a try for his boyhood club, saying before the match that this starts the moment he's been working towards for years and years and years, making his family proud. They would have been bouncing out of their seats at that. What of the conversion? Oh, it looks nice. He's got some decent... No. It doesn't. But anyway, the trial.
It's a fantastic finish from Hall, but what is Freddie Stewart doing? Look what he does. He completely misreads the play and thinks he's got to get to the corner and go to the second to last man. That's not what he's got to do. He's got to drop out and cover, because the second to man's covered by the drift. Defensively, it's a big mess up for Leicester. Great finish from Hall, though.
Saracens, use it, please. 9s. Again, use it,
sort
please.
of game to some of them we've seen recently, but just as compelling. What a game this is.
Saracens getting ready to make changes, but at the moment, Tom Willis eager to make sure those changes happen with Sarries ahead. Well, that didn't quite work for Riccioni. Saracens with white shirts back, one of them belonging to Lazowski, who makes good ground, does brilliantly, and then Daly was in front.
Now that is a let-off, isn't it? Because if that's deemed as backwards or just enough backwards, they are away.
Yeah.
It's a good break, isn't it?
Well done! Yeah. Time
Seen
off,
them
please.
given in the past, Nick.
I've seen a lot worse given over the course of the last couple of weeks.
He just had so much time to pick his line, didn't he?
That's it, mate. In the break line, we're feeling we had him elbows down on the... So let's have a look at
Pick out that mismatch of pace and then just accelerated through it.
It's,
Saracens have
I guess
got too many
the
injuries at the
whether he's
moment,
on
but
the ball
Lucio
first
Sinti is one of
and
them.
then he falls after. But I get it. I totally
nursing
agree.
a sore hamstring. And
Makes
those
it
Saracens
really
changes, by the way, we're going to see Theo Dan fairly shortly for Jamie George. Nick Ezekwe is about to come on for Hugh Tizard, and Ben Earl on for Juan Martin Gonzalez. Earl set to return for the first time since the Six Nations. He'll make a difference.
Yeah, just a little bit, won't he? He's not a bad player.
Let's go.
I thought the Hall finish was great. We talk about law changes. Years gone by, you couldn't touch the corner flag. It was in touch, but that's really good, isn't it? Really good.
And as well as we used to see tries like that once a season, maybe. I mean, they're as spectacular as they've ever been, but they're becoming much more commonplace.
Yeah, I mean, I think the finishing skill set of the wingers nowadays is absolutely top-notch. Taken a lot from rugby league, actually. You've seen how aerial those guys get.
Just too much.
Like Christian Wade yesterday. Some of his finishes were just brilliant, weren't they?
Hat-trick for Wade, hat-trick for Seb Atkinson.
Didn't get to keep the ball, Wade, though, did he?
Leicester 22, Saracens 22. It's a proper Sunday afternoon belter. Game that we think Saracens know they probably can't afford to lose. They'll be a long way behind Leicester, 11 points behind Leicester potentially if things go wrong today. Game's running out, just 5 left at the end of this in the regular Gallagher Premiership season.
Just a scrum advantage, Leicester.
Where defending
Gone backwards,
champions
so we'll play a little bit longer.
effective defence
Okay, use it, please.
ended up in Salford on
Still
Friday
scrum
night.
advantage.
If I was Leicester, I'd fluff this.
Now over.
Because now it's advantage over, but they'd been knocked back about 20 metres before they took it.
Advantage.
Daly chased hard by Kata, loose ball, Lazowski in trouble. Ooh.
I was so close, sir.
Joseph Woodward making sure that
Just a knock on.
Tobias Elliott went no further, not that it would have mattered.
Thanks. Just a knock in the tackle.
It's Kata, isn't it? That
Sorry, lads, I went too
just
early.
goes
I
in for
didn't
the
see you
tackle,
went
it
in.
comes off his hand or
Okay,
shoulder.
let's go.
Good acceleration, gets there. Just that swinging left arm just catches the ball.
Let's find up. He'll get there.
Seconds.
Half an hour to go. Tries in order of chronology. George and Gonzalez for Saracens, then Stewart and Liebenberg for Leicester before half-time. Liebenberg just after the break for Leicester. Angus Hall latterly for Sarries.
Number one.
It's another penalty to Saracens on the scrum against Nicky Smith. Just getting a bit frustrated. Trying to force those penalties and getting penalised himself.
I just think the margin for error there for Leicester is just not worth taking. Give them the ball. They're in their own half. Last thing you want to do now is give them field position twice. They've done that from 2 pieces of set piece. Wells at the line out, silly penalty, and then a needless penalty at the scrum.
Yeah, Julian just said. Sarries, stay 10. Nick,
The changes
stay
that
10.
were previously advertised. There's Ben Earl. Just had a tiniest of knee clear-outs post Six Nations to sort things out a little bit. But he's back with us now. And they'll have to wait to make a significant impact because this will now be Leicester ball. And Theo Dan, who played in the opening weekend of the Six Nations for England in Dublin. Jamie George, who came back
Let's go. Let's bind up.
post that game. Saracens have made 5 changes so far. Leicester yet to bother their replacements, who include the likes of Charlie Clare, Dan Cole, Ben Youngs, Izzy Parisi.
Bind. Set.
They've got fresh lungs, fresh legs, fresh ideas off the bench.
Okay,
Still ahead of them.
Use it.
Cracknell. Thought about using Kata in the end, went on his own to good effect. Van Portfleet.
Take it in.
Pollard, Radwan's underneath it, he gathers. Off he goes. Finding space where few others would find it. Quick pitter-patter of feet, Montosha. More of a bish-bash-bosh man. Van Portfleet, Leicester on the charge. Pollard going for the bonus point score. Catter, Hassel-Collins. Thought he'd lost it, hadn't. Leicester still in with a shout here, and the advantage. They'll have the scrum for the knock-on, but that was good.
Yeah, the pace of ball at the breakdown. JVP in position really quickly, making it difficult for them to get the ball away, but the way he takes this ball in front of him is absolutely fantastic.
Just watch Cracknell here, the delay, because there was a little shunt from Saracens, so he paused. Then his break narrows up that defensive line. Austin for the crossfield kick.
Yeah, look how he takes it as well. I don't think he knows it's coming, but he gets there because he's so quick. Steps inside two guys, stays alive. But look who's right at the breakdown. JVP's there, the ball's gone. Point of attack. You can't get any line speed then for Saracens. Same again.
Just having a check.
Just thought there was a couple of opportunities for little shoulder balls in the backfield.
Or it's batting out of his hands on the 5-metre line, which might be something different. Yes, please. Let's pop it out, Pete.
Just checking here. I think Luke,
We'll do Luke.
Pierce wants to see if there was a knock-on before that.
The actions of the second row from Sarries.
Just wondering whether it's a deliberate knockout of the hands that they're looking at.
Yeah, just getting the angles, Luke. Yep.
Thank you. I think it was number 6.
If it was, that's Theo McFarlane.
Here we are.
Yeah, that's a penalty.
So the ball's lifted.
Does he pull it back towards his own?
It's within a metre of the ruck, though, so he can't touch
Is he
him.
part of it yet?
Tackles.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah.
Nothing cynical, just a knock-on.
Well, I think it's a penalty because it's within a metre of the ruck.
But it's only if he's part of the ruck, but he was the ruck, wasn't he? He was over the
he
ball
was the
anyway.
ruck, and he was off his feet.
I think what he
There's
what he
3
does
infringements,
is,
actually.
I think what he does, the knockdown isn't, but it's just whether there is a ruck formed or whether JVP's just played it so quickly they've ruled that there's no ruck there. Because he's not bound into anything, but he is the ruck. He's over the ball, is he, or not?
Because he touches Collins, I think he is the ruck. Either way, it's a scrum, and you've got to expect Cracknell's thinking, right, it's me versus... We can just get a slight right shoulder. It's me versus Tompkins.
That's gone Joe Hayes. No, that's good from Saracens. Great drive.
No, this is this side. Time to collapse on the tree.
Well, Bruce Carey has delivered the goods, and you can see Elliot Daly, all the backs coming in, patting him on the back. They know that Joe Hayes was trying to get his side of the scrum up to take the back row away and give Cracknell a one-on-one. Bruce Carey delivers.
Bruce Carey returning to the fold, replacing Phil Brantingham today, who hurt himself late on last weekend at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah, it's because they're so slow coming in, so let's not chase it.
First Leicester change. Izzy Parisi is on for Kata.
Number 7 is +1. And 5.
Wells is in on the ball there. He's just going to stay in there now, fall on.
Some more.
Oh, I think that's really hard because it gets separated, and I don't think Wells tackles him. I think Saracens feel, oh no, we're isolated and Wells is on the ball, we've got to go to ground. He's fuming.
What about the kick?
He gets in on the ball early. The question now is, once it breaks away, who brings it down? Does Wells drop it? Or do the Saracens players, realising that he's on go to ground, maybe Wells' knees just drop slightly? And that's what the referee thinks.
+1 is 7.
Dan's throw. Toje, the line-out caller, to Ezekwe.
No, Nicky, no!
5 of the last 6 penalties have been conceded by Leicester. Damn, it's a shuddering tackle from Cracknell. Kind of tackle that changes the momentum of situations, and Montosha eating up breakdown ball today.
Well, he bounces Cracknell with the tackle. He bounces Theo Dan back towards the Leicester support and away from the Saracens support players. Huge hit. Dan wants to get further out. Bang, straight back. You can see all those Saracens players getting up from the breakdown, and they're always going to lose the race against the guard, who's Montosha, already standing up in the right position. Parise knows exactly how important that tackle was at that moment of the game.
Joe Hayes rewarding himself with a little ear scratch. Why not? Off for Dan Cole. And Amika Ilioni into the back row for Tommy Raffel. Dan. Earl. Dan and Earl. Saracens have brought on 2 more fast-moving dodgems. Burke. Tompkins, Lazowski, Daly. Back up to Lazowski, and this is Willis. This is Ilioni over the top, doing what he can. There's an immediate impact.
Really is, doesn't he? I think he does very well, because to begin with, he almost misses the ball, but he rearranges his feet, just gets his left foot further forward, gives him a bit more reach. It's loosening up, though, isn't it? This is what Sarries want. When you've got, like you said, Dan and Earl coming onto the field, you want a loose game. You want space outside, because they are brilliant ball carriers. Leicester, on the other hand, probably want it to be slightly tighter, more set-piece orientated.
Last 2 penalties at the breakdown gone Leicester's way. That'll really help. But up until then, 9 out of 12 of the penalties Leicester have given away at the breakdown have been hammered by Luke Pearce there today. And those last 2 moments will give them huge confidence. That won't, though.
So this with free ball that didn't last long. Lazowski being asked to catch the ball above his head.
Just takes his eyes off it, Cracknell, doesn't he? Just at the last second. Just there.
Come on, boys.
He's been the Premiership's busiest ball carrier this season. Tom Willis has been the second busiest. I'm enjoying both of them today.
Go, guys. Okay, we don't need him.
You've got a list of busy ball carriers now.
Busy ball carriers. It's an important list. Come on. Actually, what I do have a list of are the 4 players before today who struck Premiership drop goals this season. Do you want to have a...
They're going to change the voice and substitute.
Andy Good?
No, not this season, Austin. He just retired.
On, we're going to play
this
on.
season.
He's going off. He's going to go off.
Anscombe?
What's the call, please? Is he...
Henry Slade?
No, thank you.
Ford.
Yeah, a couple of them play for England.
Marcus Smith. Finn Smith.
George Ford. Oh, this is getting boring now. Jamie Shilcock. And Ethan Grayson for Newcastle before he went to the USA.
I love your quizzes.
Thank you.
Getting boring. It started boring.
What Sarries won't like is that view of Alex Lazowski. They lost Fraser Balmain to a very early injury, and that looked similar. Missing Lucio Cinti still at the moment as well. That is not good news.
Important scrum this. Obviously the last one. Carey got the upper hand. Dan Cole's now been brought on to shore that side up. Saracens have had a good success at the last couple of scrums. Cole will want to make an instant impact while he's fresh.
Alex Good on at full-back. Elliot Daly's moved to outside centre. Sorry.
Okay, Sarries, use please. Use it!
Fell sail with Burke waiting. It's Earl who picks it up and finds Burke, and away nicely by Daly. And here goes Elliot. That's been lost. Tackled by Hassel Collins.
I think that comes off the Leicester hand.
That's gone the wrong way, Nick.
Oh, Alex Good definitely thinks it's gone off the Leicester hand. Brilliant handling, Daly again as he gets smashed by Parise. 2-on-1 on the outside. But here, that comes off Hassel Collins.
Is it a knock on or is it backwards? So scrum down, Sarries ball.
Yeah, agreed, Luke. Yeah.
The referee's now seen it on the big screen and decided to reverse that.
I made a mistake. I thought it was a knock-on, but it's clearly knocked backwards by your player.
Not quite as good as Van Seal picked it up.
Missed it. Was it?
Sorry, lads, my bad. Sorry, scrum.
I would say increasingly about Saracens right now, as much as Leicester have got the likes of Ollie Hassel-Collins, with Alex Good coming on. We've already mentioned Earl and Dan. There is plenty of zip in white right now. Got this attacking scrum into the final quarter.
Just looking back, Nick, at that break, actually, you've got to have recognition when you're against Ben Earl. If he gets to the second defender, you can't step forward. I mean, he's so dynamic. Look how wide he gets. So he gets to Pollard, the second defender there. And then you've got Jack Van Portfleet's covered on the inside. So what you can't do is go forward. You have to back off, but instead he goes forward, makes the hit. There's the extra man. If you back off, you're inside each defender and you're man on man. They don't get the extra man on the outside. They don't make the break. Or they do, but you only concede 10 metres as opposed to 40. So if an 8 gets to the second defender, the last thing you can do is go forward.
Breeze getting up at Mattioli Woods, Welford Road, and Sarri's trying to use it. Elliott finding Burke, and then Good, and then a charging Angus Hall, who's already scored one Premiership try on his first start.
Well, the cover defence from Parise is brilliant, because the scrum was dominant for Saracens, and Stewart here gets caught. He's thinking hold, and he's been done on the outside. Hassel-Collins gets there, and Parise comes and assists him and dumps Hall into touch, but Sarri's certainly starting to get the upper hand here, both at the scrum and with their ability to get round Leicester in the wide channels.
Let's go.
Leicester keeping things simple with a shorter four-man line out. They've got Ilioni standing off. Oh, and it's been lost, and Dan will score. And heading into a final 20 minutes that will go some way to shaping who is and isn't in the playoffs. That feels big.
Thank you.
It's not a brilliant decoy, to be fair. Itoje gets his hand between Henderson's arms, and actually the quality of Montoya's throwing's not been good today. It's all been too low. Just a bit of contact in the air, but I think Itoje's going for the ball.
Yeah, they got
Itoje gets his hand up towards the ball. I'm happy with that. Dan reacts the quickest, but
Dan Cole stayed dead straight.
The line-out hasn't been brilliant for Leicester today, and it has cost them hugely.
Fourth try, bonus point try for Mark McCall. 302nd Premiership game in charge of Saracens today. 31st against Leicester. He's won 18 of them. And of course, for a 19th here maybe. The kick, not an easy one, but a brilliant one. And they've scored the last couple of tries, and having been 22-17 down, they now lead by 7.
It's an incredible success rate, isn't it? 73% of your games.
Itoje's gather under some pressure from Henderson and co. It's all gone a bit quiet in these parts.
It really hasn't it?
Okay, use it, please.
Mark McCall's got to be at the top of the list of best ever coaches in the Premiership, hasn't he? Any other contender for you in your lists?
No, not yet. 9, come on.
Back in the day, Dean Richards in his time here, maybe. In your time.
And I was onside.
Gary Gatlin did all right with Wasps. Cracknell. Van Portfleet. Ben Youngs remains on the bench. Pollard, Stewart, Hassel-Collins chasing, being shepherded by Alex Good. A bit more than 15 minutes to go.
I just think those sorts of rucks, Nick, when you kick the ball in behind, are the ones you have to counter into. You have to put weight into it rather than give them a chance to reset, go phase, box kick and clear your lines. You're turning them, you're advancing, you have to counter in that ruck.
That's one of the things that Gloucester did really well last night against Bristol. Those of you who were with us will remember. Oh, it's been charged down. Henderson gets it. Henderson scores. Couple of tries in quick succession. Rather ribboned and boxed by the opposition.
You can see Van Sale's reaction. He's thinking, why didn't I plan that better? Why didn't I check that I have bodies in front of me? No one there. Just goes slightly early, Henderson there. But he gets his hands as close to the foot as possible. Does he go?
Give me a second, Andre, please.
You'll have to just check whether
ball's out.
Yeah, shot clock's off, yeah.
he gets in front of Dan Cole before the ball's picked up. You can't actually see
we need to have
the
a look at
ball.
this just to see where four is.
Okay, so you want to check it? Guys! Okay, Peter, so you're going to show me an offside, are we, from the Leicester player?
Yeah, Leicester 4, just look at the movement of Leicester 4 before the ball's...
No worries, and Callum, if you can see the mark when we see the replays, please. So obviously he's on field try, so he's got to be clearly offside. So we're about to see a clear offside, I believe, number 4.
So Dan Cole's feet and the back foot.
Still in the ruck.
He's onside
Still
now.
in the ruck. Still in the ruck.
You can't tell until you can see the other side of whether the ball's out or not.
Thank you. Camera back when you're ready.
Here you go. Well, he's lifted it. I think it's okay.
When you're ready, Pete.
I don't think the officials do, though.
Okay, yeah.
They've made up their mind.
Back to look.
I think that's fair. He's actually got to lift it. I don't think the ball ever came out. Even though his hands are on it, doesn't make a difference. He has to lift the ball off the floor for it to be out. And although you couldn't see Henderson start his movement, you saw on the first angle that it had already gone. That's a good angle.
Okay, clock's going to go on then. Time on, please.
Sorry, look. When you say use it, and then we cannot be taking that.
There's it rolling back. Does he pick it up earlier? No, it bounces off the foot, doesn't it? That's probably what sets him on.
Theodan's throw. A bit of a delay here as Saracens sort themselves out and Liebenberg got his big hands on it.
So knock on, is that?
I think that might have touched the Leicester hand.
Yeah, trying to scrum
Liebenberg who was closest to it. So Saracens scrum.
They were trying to harry them and rush them. Dan Cole stepping across the line, waving for the referee to make them play it. Rushed them into it. Almost got his hand in the right position, Liebenberg there, but it just goes forward.
Be patient.
Decent Saracen shove. However it goes down, we'll have another.
Let's have a quick chat with your props. I need complete stability and your elbow up, please. I can't reward you if you like this.
A really impressive scrummaging performance. He made that change for Maui.
I'll make sure he isn't
on Reece Carey.
Just please don't
A lot of ballast in that back five as well. Ezekiel Itoji. You almost think now, in the referee's mind, he's thinking, yeah, Saracens are slightly on top, so any of those 50-50 decisions probably go Saracens' way. Huge response needed from Cole on that far side.
Too much.
He's a wise operator, sir.
No, we spoke before the game. It's now gone a bit too much. So if you wouldn't, if you wouldn't mind just turning it down now, please. So over lean from Dan Cole.
I think that's the volume that Luke Pearce was talking about. Volume and quantity.
Weights and measures.
Yes. Hassel Collins with the catch. Cracknell for Leicester, who rebuild just outside their own 22.
Okay, use it, please.
This is a short ruck as well. Oh, close there.
It's straight out though.
Yeah, Farland's chase put the pressure on Leicester's scrum half.
Wonder whether they might just can't start considering Ben Youngs. In fact, as I say that, he pops his head out of the bench and top comes off.
Time off, please.
Shepherd's
Lots
crook
of things
for
happening
Jack
at
Van
subs as well,
Poortvliet
boys.
after that last kick.
Ben Young's part of a set of replacements with a
Time on.
combined total of games for the club of well over 1,000.
Plus one is 7.
And Tom Willis replaced by Andy Onyama Christie for Saracens. Leicester ball. Van Sale working hard to get back. Hunted by Hassel Collins. Good.
Retreat, Sarries! Retreat!
Young's first touch. Pollard. Stewart. Radwan pedalling backwards to make sure he was an option, but the strength of Stewart. Pollard bouncing ball. Goodness me, Montosha. Like he was Lionel Messi just then. Cracknell. Parisi. No way through. It was well read by Christie and co, and Toje's got his hands on it. Parisi rather running down a blind alley.
I think Nicky Smith's got a point there. He's complaining that their clear out was blocked by the tackler on the floor. Might have been Ben Earl, just on that far side. Ben Earl, just watch him now as he lies.
Okay.
Cole can't
the
quite
team's
go
on
in and
that,
make
you
the
don't
hit. Smith saying, but I think Itoji's won that race anyway. Leicester just a bit short on the left-hand side of the breakdown where the ball fell.
Because of the nature of the tackle, Parisi lands too open, doesn't he?
That's the change. Harry Wells has gone. He's been replaced by the Frenchman Combe Jussin.
Big kick this, Nick. He's going to go for the post. He's got the wind behind him, so he's definitely got the length, Elliot Daly, from here.
We're not quite in agreement there, but
they've just started taking a few more chances at the breakdown, Sarries.
I'm guessing you still want to wait, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, Saracens
Not really,
do go
but
on to win this with the bonus point.
It will take them up to 39 points, level with Sale, who are in 5th at the moment. It won't take them above Sale because Sale will have won one game more, but it will pull them to within a couple of points of Leicester as things stand, within 3 points of Gloucester, who are 3rd, and suddenly having whispered about Saracens being out of the playoff race if they hadn't lost this. All of a sudden they're right back, slap bang in the middle of it.
I'm going to have to redo all my numbers.
He's only had a couple of Premiership kicks this season. Elliot Daly against Sale and Bristol. He's got them both, and we know how far he can wallop this. It's a slightly shorter pitch. Yeah, Mattioli Woods, Welford Road as well. This well within his compass. Off it goes, on the breeze, not quite. Those Leicester fans behind the post liked it from a very early stage, and Leicester still within punching distance, at least of rescuing a draw with 8 minutes to go. Jamie Shilcock is on for Izzy Parisi, replacement replacing the replacement. Parisi hurt himself as he went into that tackle that led to the penalty. Riccioni laying it back, Tompkins away one-handed, and then good, and the run from Elliott puts Leicester in a corner they don't want to be.
That's just good skill set all over, isn't it? You put him in a channel where there's nothing to create and he'll find a way.
Thank you.
He's annoyed with himself that the ball didn't stay on, but it's a pretty good kick.
Final Leicester changes, both in the front row. He's on, Charlie Clare, the hooker, so too James Whitcomb, who said goodbye to Nicky Smith and Julian Montosha.
We're just making sure we're all done. How many are coming in, please? 3, man. It's a 3.
This is not a simple line-out, Ben.
I know, so it's
and
the 3-man line-out. Okay, you're +1.
Particularly for your first one.
He went long over the 15 metres, and
McFarland was onto the ruse quickly.
He's done really well there to take that and fall away from the tackle. Shield the ball from McFarland.
Out of the shallowest of in-goal areas, Jamie Shilcock's first big contribution is to take Leicester back almost up to the 10-metre line, in fact just a little bit beyond it. Alfred Road moments as a Premiership player running out. He's off to Breve next season.
Who's +1? +1's 9.
Toje barking the instructions. Oh! I think it was meant for McFarland, but Henderson got there.
Oh, the line-out started to really become a big thing for Leicester when Saracens are throwing it in.
No! Second man.
Pollard. Toje shattered it off the ball as he had a little hunt around.
They've got their line speed back, Saris, haven't they? A lot of pressure on.
Retreat first!
The likes of a Toje can empty the tank here. He won't be involved in the Champions Cup match next weekend down in Toulon. He's played both of the games he's allowed to play post Six Nations. He'll need a rest next weekend.
Okay, use it, please.
Shorter kick.
Tap back by Elliott. And then a Toje again.
Okay, use it.
Onyama Christie looks interested. Instead, it's Riccioni.
Again, Saris, use it, please. Let's go, 9.
Stewart. Hustled by Elliott. Swept up by Hassel-Collins. That's off the outside of the boot.
Oh, it's landed in, has it? That's on the full. Just 3-4 errors creeping into Leicester, aren't there, that they can't find a way. This guy's put a huge amount of pressure on the opposition today.
He's off the pitch. He's off the pitch. Let's go. We're going. We're going. Let's go.
Final 5 minutes.
They can't throw into a line-out without
Suggests that this is the biggest 5 minutes of Saracen season so far. The weight, the importance that you will attach to a win should it come their way, but again overthrown and Youngs wallops it away. Good, back where he didn't want to be.
Keep retreating.
Yeah, it's not found touch, it has just found touch. Dan Vickers almost colliding with Hanro Liebenberg. Vickers, Sarah's kicking and skills coach.
We've completely lost the radar.
Hold the gap there, lads. Thank you. +1 is 9.
Charlie Clare's line out for Leicester to Henderson. Youngs, Shilcock, Pollard, Hassel-Collins on a questioning line, but it was read by Burke. Shilcock, Leicester not without distributors, without big blokes. Amika Ilioni knocking down the stable door. This is Jassam. Shilcock, it's loose, and it might yet work for Burke. Leicester have been rolled. Whose ball's this? Both teams listening carefully to Luke Pearce's instruction. The instruction is Leicester ball. So Youngs to Shilcock. Stewart. Touchline not his friend.
Saracens ball.
Saracens have possession. How long to go? 3 minutes to go.
Now it is.
I think Theo Dan will be a little bit concerned about the line-out after the way the previous ones have gone. I think Henderson's read them pretty well, though, Ben, hasn't he? He's got people in position, he's got himself in position.
There's hesitation as well, which he's really playing on at the moment. Now there's a bit of confusion over the call. Another one lost.
Liebenberg gets it. Important hand potentially. And it was Hall who came up really well. What an intervention from the left wing. Big try in the second half, and now that.
Big moment.
Let's go then. Let's go, Jim.
There's the line out, there's the tap. Shilcock's complaining actually that he doesn't touch it first, but Hall does.
Thank you.
I think he's wrong.
Definitely comes off his leg, doesn't it? Drops it down. Brilliant intervention. Reads the flight of the ball in the air, knows he's got time to get there. Saracens will be in no rush to set this scrum up.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
90 seconds to go. Earl. Need to say that Saracens' replacements have done the job that Mark McCall would have wanted them to do.
Okay.
Got them back in the contest and then held on to that lead, so hard-earned.
Okay, use it, please.
Stewart comes in, Shilcock 2, Liebenberg. Radwan struggling to get away, but he always gets away. Adam Radwan. Youngs.
Brilliant offload from him.
Woodward. Hassel-Collins, it's taken by Van Sale. Leicester winger up with the tackle. 80th minute.
Okay, use.
Riccioni. Saracens can squeeze the seconds out of the sponge here.
Okay, we've had it, let's go.
Oh, he's isolated.
And use it again, please.
Carey. He's had a good game.
Okay, use it.
20 seconds.
Saracens, use it.
All in Saracens' hands now. 10 seconds. This is it.
Okay, use it.
Biggest win of Saracens' season. If you were writing them off in the playoff chase heading into this weekend, you are going to have to revise your opinions. That is a magnificent Sarries performance on the road here at Mattioli Woods, Welford Road, and they are still very much a factor over the closing few months of this Gallagher Premiership season, as of course are Leicester, but there's virtually nothing between the sides in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th now in the table. What a charge it's going to be to make the end of season top 4, to make the playoffs. Huge win for Sarries, Leicester having to content themselves with the losing bonus point. Final score, Mattioli Woods, Welford Road, Leicester 22, Saracens 29.